I'd like to move on to E4, the employee groups. Is anyone here for Morgan Hill Federation of Teachers?
The Federation of the District, I'm Gemma Amos, and I am the president of the Morgan Hill Federation of Teachers. The Federation of the District met for a full day of negotiations last Thursday. Our team this year is myself, Chris Mink, Andrea Pecksock, Zan Yates, Jen Myers, Lori Shoemaker, and Nancy Altman, who is not here today. Last Thursday, September 29, our members wore green to support the continued work of this team. Our members would have been ecstatic had we completed negotiations during the summer, and they would have been grateful if their second paycheck of the school year included a raise. But they wore green because they want the district to respect that our educators know that class size does matter, especially for our youngest children and our students with special needs. We wore green because we want this district to respect us as professionals when we ask for leaves and personal necessities. We wore green because they want our district to respect our teacher leaders, especially those who take on the enormous job of athletic director at our secondary sites. We all wore green on Thursday to show that we are demanding a respectable salary that shows that this district recognizes the excellence of its teachers, nurses, librarians, and speech pathologists. And that this district understands the benefit our work has not only for our students, but for this district and this community. We wore green because MHFT is standing together. I want to thank our negotiations team for standing with me through these months of negotiations. We have met with our members, held site meetings, and met as a team outside of our bargaining sessions. We did feel this Thursday that the district has begun to hear the voice, not of the 7 people they negotiate with, but of the 422 members we represent. This team wants the district to have an excellent and experienced teaching staff who can sustain themselves as teachers. What we know is that our members must work outside of teaching our students in order to afford to be a teacher in Morgan Hill. For most of my career, I've been a single woman living by myself. My landlord has kept my rent increases to a minimum because he feels lucky to have a stable tenant that he can rely on. Every time I've had to move, it's been a job in itself to find a place that I could afford where I could also feel safe. As a 20-year teacher, this is where I am. As a 20-year veteran in this district, I would still qualify for the House Peace program that will be presented later this evening. This summer, I worked in the union office to make sure that I had money in August to pay my bills. Since I started teaching in Morgan Hill, I've had to do extra work to be able to afford things like visiting my family for Christmas. Here are some of the jobs I have done. And most of these are in the district. I've been a yearbook advisor, I've been a building rep, I've been a class advisor. For 2 years, Mr. Dow paid me for this job, and then for 4 more years, I did this job for free. I've been an assistant cross-country coach. I ran with the slower kids. I taught summer school for the first 6 years of my career here. I went to summer trainings. I was honored to be a part of the San Jose Area Writing Project 3 times, where they pay you to work with them and then expect you to do more trainings for them during the school year. I taught the 6th period class during my prep period that Ms. Rebush will surely remember. She did a lot of work because that happened. I worked .2 in the union office over my full-time job in the district as a new teacher support provider and then as a TOSA, and I still do union summer office hours. Here's what I've done for free outside of teaching and outside of those other jobs. I've been the CJSF advisor, including planning the Live Oak Blood Drive. I've been on the Live Oak Scholarships Committee, edited common scholarships, and wrote many recommendation letters. For 2 years, when the new SAT that is the former new SAT, when they started the writing, came out, I had 4 after-school study sessions to make sure that students were prepared for the SAT. One of those students is now a lawyer, and 2 are in medical school. I did tutoring and after-school study sessions. I judged competitions for the FFA, especially when I shared the building with the 2 ag teachers at Live Oak. Most of the work I did preparing to fight the charter schools, including working with the South Bay Labor Council and organizing members, was done off of the time that I worked in the union office. I chaperoned field trips, including the senior Disneyland trip, even when I had already fulfilled my 25 hours of supervisory duty. I helped check students into the grad night. I organized the Live Oak Camp Everytown trip and chaperoned, most of them often taking sick days so students would not have to pay for our subs. I'm still helping to plan this trip for Live Oak because I know it's important for our students. I'm not alone in the work I have done outside of the classroom. It is the culture of MHFT members to do what is necessary for our students, our colleagues, and our schools. I have been lucky that I have not had to work outside of the field of education to be able to afford to teach. Some of our members do work outside of the classroom. Through our meetings with members and our survey, we know that our members do these things. They work at home-based businesses like Avon, Pampered Chef, and 31, and others like this. As reported recently in The Nation, they drive for Uber and Lyft. They are baristas, bartenders, waiters, waitresses, and grocery checkers. They do private tutoring. They work for their spouses and their families' businesses. They teach during the summer session at San Jose State. They work in retail stores like Home Depot. They babysit and animal sit. They cater for companies and restaurants and outside of their own homes. They take in boarders. They work at summer day camps. They do handyman jobs, paint houses, and garden for others. At their school sites, they also do many things for extra duty stipends. They teach the cyber high classes after school and during the summer. They teach summer school. They run after-school programs at their sites. They mentor our intern teachers. They substitute for colleagues during their prep time. They attend professional development. They are math and EL coaches. They are lead teachers and are coaches for our athletic teams. If the teaching, planning, grading, parent contacting, and collaborating that includes all of the district's initiatives in MTSS, restorative justice, technology, the new EL standards could be done within a school day, these extra jobs might be reasonable. But we know that our teachers do not do that. They plan, they grade, they collaborate, and they contact parents after school hours, and then they do these other jobs. Teachers have stayed in Morgan Hill because there is something special about this place. Our students, our families, and our colleagues. Let me reiterate the message from our members, and I think you heard it earlier from Natalie. We want to stay in the Morgan Hill Unified School District. We want our students to achieve to their highest potential. We want public education in Morgan Hill to have the strongest, most effective teaching staff that there is. But we cannot stay if we cannot afford to teach in Morgan Hill. Thank you.
Before I ask the Service Employees International Union to come up, we've reached the 7:01 mark, and I would ask the oh, okay. So good. So we have time. So my apologies, students. Thank you. So Service Employees International.
Hi, Mary. There's not a whole lot to talk about tonight, and I've just got three things. Contract negotiations are ongoing, and we have our next session next week, and looking forward to that, where we're making some good headway. The second item is that it involves a little bit of a story. Be patient with me. One of the things that I wanted to do very, very much, ever when I first became a school bus driver, was I wanted to drive a school bus in a parade. Last year, I happened to meet a Kiwanis member, Mary Corrigan, I think her name is, who manages the Christmas parade. And I, badgered Kathleen, and my boss, until she let me, she was all on you, you do it. So I got 5 or 6 people, we decorated the bus, and we drove the parade. I was like, and at that time, I remember thinking, there's a certain visibility here that I would really like at this moment to offer you guys. I would like to offer the school board the opportunity to ride on the bus this year if you want. We have, I think it's about a 30-foot international school bus. It's got room for 25 passengers. And I think it would be a nice way of bringing your faces to people in a really bright, happy setting, you know, you can put names under the windows, you can stick out and wave. But it's up to you guys, but that offer is there. It's going to be December 3rd. It is at 5 o'clock. If I remember correctly, I think we were done between 8 or 9. I didn't really keep track because I was kind of too adrenaline nice at the time. But anyway, so there's that. And the last thing is, just briefly, I wanted to echo the words that Gemma just said. The classified employees are in very much the same position that, I, of course, sadly, I use the bus yard as an example for everything, but I'll use it here. None of my colleagues can afford rent here. The only reason that they have roofs over their heads is because they have 2 people and the other person works someplace else and has a better paycheck than they do. There are 2 couples, one of whom has had 28 and 30 years, so they're at the, a pretty high salary for a school bus driver, and they do own in Hollister. I believe they just moved to Hollister. The other couple lives with me at Thousand Trails. You guys may not know that. That's the campground up on Watsonville Road. I live in a 30-foot travel trailer. I still have to go to the food closet to eat like a normal human. And let me tell you, that's pretty boring food. That's a bag of beans and a bag of rice and, a can of tomato sauce kind of deal. And this is what a lot of classified people, and I get paid better than a lot of I get paid better than the food service guys and some of the junior grounds guys. And, that's not fair. It's not right. We stick with this job because we love it. My colleagues have gone on to do things that paid them $30 an hour and came back because they love being a school bus driver. And we cannot afford to live here. Now, I'll be blunt, in my position I've had access to information that's, not generally known. You wouldn't want it to be known. It's the salaries of some of the people that I work with who administrate over me. And they make 4 times what I do. And the same goes, I'm sure, for the teachers. Is that fair? I mean, I'm furious, to be honest. This hurts me that people that I know put their heart and soul into making sure the kids are safe. In the case of the bus drivers, we take hours of classes. We work together. You should hear the radio. When we have a problem, every bus driver comes on with, can I help? Where are you now? I can come pick up these 3 guys. These people love their kids and they love what they do. And we make pennies. I make $24,000 a year. That's not enough to survive. And I know this is Stanford University. I worked there years ago. 14 assistant controllers. When they discovered that they spent $300,000 too much on the Green Library, they fired a janitor. You're like, come on, guys. These guys made $200,000. Who should you get rid of to make sure your budget works? I'm not implying you guys, certainly a lot better off than them, but I just want you to keep that in your head. There is a huge, huge gap between what administrators make and what the people who actually deal with the kids every day make. Can we address that? Can we do something to make that more equitable? Because you have people here who are brilliant at what they do, even the grounds people who go out, and Max, who is one of the grounds guys, every time last year I went to Los Paseos, if I got there after 2:45, the parents would block everything and I couldn't get the bus through and my kids would wander towards me, and it was kind of dangerous. Max would go stand out there and hold traffic for me until I got there. And that was the coolest thing, to see him there. I was like, oh, dude, thank you so much. And that's 2 people who work in totally different departments, working together without being asked to make sure that the kids are safe and that they can get on the bus. I mean, that's brilliant. You just can't waste that. And yet you can't keep drivers for the bus yard because we can't afford it. Please, guys, please do something. Let's listen and let's work together and let's try to narrow that gap a little bit, because everybody deserves to go home at the end of the day with a roof over their head. It's just fair. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you. Again, my apologies, Natalie. It's your turn to speak.
Hello. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Natalie Bennett. I'm a teacher in this district. I have taught in this district for 5 years. I have taught in 2 other districts previously to this district. And I must say, this district has felt like home since the day that I've started here. And I love this community. I'm also living in this community. With that being said, I also must say, with the teachers that I've worked with, the teachers in this district are the most dedicated teachers that I have worked with. They work above and beyond the school day, and help the students out on their own time more than any other district that I've been in. But I also feel like, me personally, that the teachers that I feel like this district treats, I shouldn't say treats, is most underappreciated. The teachers in this district, I think all the hard work they do comes across as it's not enough. I would say, in order for me to afford to live in this community, as much as I would love to raise my baby here and stay here, I debate every year when we have to sign off because we're gonna come back the next year if I can stay. With the raises that we have gotten, and it's appreciative that I am of them, our health care goes up just as much, and I'm making the same amount as I did the year before. Now, thank God, my husband has good benefits, that I can put the baby on his benefits, otherwise there'd be no way that I can live here. And with our 2 incomes, I don't think we'll ever be able to own a home. We struggle enough to find places that will rent to us at something we can afford. And with now STRS going up and healthcare teetering, once again, as I go into this school year, I ask myself daily if I can afford to stay here. As I talk to my colleagues, they're in the same boat. And I don't want to see another year go by in which my friends beside me leave this district, because from last year to this year, already our school has lost really good teachers, and our 8th graders see it, and they are hurt from the teachers that left that were so dedicated to them, that spent hours working with them in the classroom. And those teachers left them, and now they feel like they're neglected, that they did something wrong to lose such good teachers. And I don't think our kids deserve that, and I don't think our teachers deserve to feel like their work here isn't good enough, that we don't match up to the teachers in other districts that are neighboring us. And I just hope, as we continue our negotiations, that you can kind of see the teachers as your colleague and what you would want for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Each board member reports. Are there any reports? Trustee Gerard.
Thank you. We've heard a lot about something happened in an article in Nation magazine, and I actually first learned about this article online. I'm a subscriber to the Nation, and I think echoing what the Federation president said today about her own experience, if you'll indulge me for about a minute and a half, I'd like to read the first couple of paragraphs of this article. The title of the article is Driven to Extremes. It's from the Nation magazine, September 26th edition. It's still online. It's fairly moving and very relevant. About a minute. Matt Berry teaches history and economics to 11th and 12th graders at Live Oak High School, a public school in a suburb of San Jose, California. At 32, he's in his 9th year on the job, teaching 35 students in each class. But Berry also has a second life that's becoming increasingly common for American school teachers. He spends his after-school hours and weekends as an Uber driver in order to earn extra money. Berry and his wife, Nicole, are both teachers, and each earns $69,000 per year, which should place them solidly within the middle class. If Silicon Valley hadn't sprawled around them, that's where they would be. But the explosion in wealth that has accompanied the tech boom has sent housing costs well beyond the reach of longtime working and middle class residents. In the town where Berry teaches, the median home price is $800,000, ensuring that the people who spend their days educating Live Oak students will never live near them. In Barry's own neighborhood of Gilroy, a 20-minute drive from his school, the median home price is $650,000. When Barry's child is born, Nicole is pregnant, the family will pay an additional $6,000 in healthcare annually. If she takes time off, that will more than double to $14,400. Barry shocks his Uber passengers when he tells them about his day job as he shuttles them around ritzy Morgan Hill, where his high school is located. Between rides, he grades papers. Among teachers, he's not even the worst off. He and Nicole each earn an income, and they own their own home. Even so, they're on the financial edge. Quote, teachers are killing themselves, he says. I shouldn't have to drive Uber 8 o'clock on a weekday. I just shut down for the mental toll, grading papers in between rides, thinking of what I could be doing instead of driving, like reading a curriculum. And so I just wanted to point that out. I'd like to encourage people to read this article. This is real. This is a national news story. It's about Morgan Hill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Gerard.